Far above the surface of our spinning world, beyond the reach of clouds and weather, a fragile structure orbits in silence. It travels at over 28,000 kilometers per hour, circling the Earth once every 90 minutes. It's not visible during the day, but at twilight, if you look up, you might glimpse a fast-moving light streaking across the sky. That light is not a star. It's not a satellite. It's something far more remarkable, the International Space Station. It is a machine, yes, a feat of engineering, no doubt, but it is also something greater, something almost poetic. The ISS is the embodiment of an idea that when nations come together, not to compete, but to collaborate, they can achieve the extraordinary. In an age often defined by division, the ISS stands as a shining counterpoint, an orbiting experiment in peace, progress, and unity. Constructed piece by piece, over decades, by over 15 nations, the ISS is the largest, most ambitious structure humanity has ever built in space. And it isn't just about the hardware. It's about the people, from astronauts and cosmonauts to scientists, engineers, and diplomats. It is their combined vision, courage, and trust that made it possible. The ISS was born not in a vacuum, but in the aftermath of a divided century. During the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union viewed space as a domain of strategic advantage. Each launch, each milestone, each lunar step was more than a scientific victory. It was a political one. Yet even then, a seed of cooperation was planted. In 1975, the Apollo-Soyuz test project brought American and Soviet astronauts together in space for the first time. They shook hands through an airlock, exchanged flags and gifts, and demonstrated that even bitter rivals could find common ground in orbit. That handshake marked the beginning of a slow shift in thinking, from space as a frontier of competition to one of shared exploration. By the 1990s, with the Cold War behind them, space agencies began to forge deeper ties. NASA and Roscosmos led the charge, joined by Europe, Japan, and Canada. Together, they conceived a new vision, an international space station that would serve not one flag, but many. It would be a platform for science, for diplomacy, for peace. And it would be built in space, piece by piece, by nations working as one. The construction of the ISS remains one of the most daring and complex engineering feats in human history. Assembly began in 1998 when the Russian module Zarya launched into orbit. Just weeks later, the American module Unity was carried up aboard the space shuttle. In orbit, astronauts connected the two, symbolically and literally uniting East and West. Over the next 13 years, over 40 missions from 5 different space agencies added more modules, solar arrays, scientific labs, and life support systems. These were not prefabricated in a single factory. They were built across continents, in Florida, Moscow, Toulouse, Tokyo, Montreal, and launched aboard American shuttles, Russian Soyuz and Proton rockets, and more recently, private vehicles. Each component had to be perfectly designed to fit together in microgravity. Docking procedures required unmatched precision. Repairs had to be conducted by astronauts suspended in space, tethered to the station with only the void below them. The ISS now spans over 100 meters, with a pressurized volume larger than a Boeing 747. It is a machine in motion, a laboratory, home, and platform for diplomacy, orbiting the Earth 16 times a day. The primary mission of the ISS is science, and the microgravity environment it provides is unlike any laboratory on Earth. With the gravitational pull reduced to near zero, researchers can explore physics, chemistry, and biology in entirely new ways. Over the years, scientists have used the station to study everything from protein crystallization to fluid dynamics, from plant growth to combustion without convection. This research has led to breakthroughs in drug development, materials engineering, and climate science. Most critically, the ISS has provided a long-term platform to study the human body in space. Astronauts who live aboard the station for 6 months or more endure changes to their muscles, bones, eyesight, and immune systems. These findings are not just useful for future missions to the Moon or Mars. They also help doctors treat patients on Earth suffering from similar conditions. And this knowledge isn't owned by any one nation. Data from ISS experiments is shared internationally across universities, research centers, and industries. The discoveries are not guarded. They are gifted to all of humanity. While the science is groundbreaking, what truly makes the ISS extraordinary is the people who call it home. More than 270 astronauts from 21 countries have lived and worked aboard the station. They eat together, train together, laugh, struggle, and sometimes celebrate holidays together, floating 400 kilometers above the Earth. They bring with them not just their nationalities, but their cultures, their stories, and their languages. It's not uncommon to hear Russian, English, Japanese, and French spoken in a single day on the ISS. Meals are shared across cultures. Music is exchanged. Birthdays are celebrated with homemade decorations and pre-packaged space cake. These human moments give the ISS its soul. And in many ways, the station is a mirror, not of the nations that built it, but of the best parts of them. It is an international home built not on territory, but on trust. International partnerships are never easy. Earthbound politics don't disappear in orbit. Yet the ISS has survived moments that could have torn it apart. Geopolitical tensions, wars, budget cuts, even the Columbia disaster in 2003, which grounded the US shuttle fleet for years. And yet, the work continued. Russian Soyuz capsules became lifelines. ESA and JAXA kept their contributions on schedule. American astronauts continued flying, thanks to partnerships that endured where politics sometimes faltered. Even during the COVID-19 pandemic, when borders closed and the world stood still, the ISS remained operational. New crew members were trained, launched, and integrated. Science never stopped. Communication never broke. The station stood, quite literally, above it all. It is in these moments of stress that the ISS proves its value, not just as a platform for science, but as a blueprint for resilience, coordination, and international maturity. The ISS is now more than 25 years old. It has surpassed every expectation for longevity and performance. But its era is drawing to a close. Plans are in place to deorbit the ISS by 2030, bringing an end to its extraordinary chapter. Yet its legacy lives on in every mission that follows. NASA's Artemis program, ESA's Lunar Gateway, Japan's HTVX cargo craft, and private stations being developed by Axiom Space and others. All of them are children of the ISS. It has also transformed public perception. What once was science fiction, international crews living in space, conducting cutting-edge research, is now a part of everyday reality. And thanks to the ISS, space is no longer just for superpowers. It is for everyone, a shared frontier. When you see the ISS fly overhead, it doesn't wave a single flag. There is no anthem played. But what it represents is more profound than any national symbol. It is Earth's embassy in space, an outpost of peace and collaboration that speaks to what we can accomplish when we dream together. In a time when headlines are filled with conflict and division, the ISS reminds us that there is another path, one built not on rivalry, but on cooperation, one that looks not inward, but upward. Above us, circling silently through the void, is proof that borders need not define us, that progress is possible, and that our shared future lies not just on Earth, but among the stars, together.